Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're working on another request, and this is going to be a little bit of an update to something that we had done before. So I'm gonna go on and open up one of my previous files here so that we can save a little bit of time, and I will, let me put up this one. I'm gonna be opening up the bokeh.js dashboard, and let me go on and run this really quickly so you guys can see what this looks like. So bokeh serve show here, and it'll be bokeh fin dashboard pie. You guys can see what it looks like. Whoops, and it's not server, it's serve. And let me pull this up over here so you guys can see what it looks like. And so this was done a couple videos ago, and we created up a bit of a financial dashboard here, and you can see here that it has these drop downs, and it updates as we go along. Okay, now there was a couple different requests previously, okay? Where we used, grabbed all of the S&P 500 stock data, and another request, and we did that in a subsequent video, but then we also had another request where instead of these select drop downs, here we have it so that users can actually type in a text box, and it gives them some auto completion ideas for what may or may not be available to them. Okay, and that's what we're going to work on today. We're going to work on this auto completion, and we may even, if we have time, we'll also merge in this grabbing all of the S&P 500 stock data into that as well. Okay, so and I will put a link to this original video down below, and probably also up top over here somewhere. So let's go on and get started with that. I'm going to go on and cancel the server, and I'm going to close that up. So a couple things that we need to do to get ready for this. One is we're going to delete this stock or the select statement, and then we're going to add in from bokeh.models.widgets. We're going to import in here autocomplete input. Okay, and this is going to be what we're going to be using now instead of the select statement, this is fantastic that Bokeh has this for us. So we'll go on and make some of the changes where we need to. So everything else is pretty much the same, except we're going to change things going on right here. Okay, so instead of select in here, we're going to change this to auto complete input, and then instead of well, actually maybe we'll even make a title in here and to give our users instructions, and say something like change ticker values below, and I'll set the standard input to Apple. And instead of this options, we're going to actually do completions. Okay, and the same thing is going to go. We're actually going to just copy this and put this here as well. Okay, so then it will go on, and instead of Apple, let's maybe put Google in here, and Apple here. Now another thing that we can do, and I would suggest doing this as well, okay, is when people are searching, okay, we don't really give them a whole lot of feedback. Like again, yes, maybe we want our tickers to be all uppercase, but what we can do is put a comma in here and do case sensitive is equal to false. Okay, and this will make it so that if they just type in a lowercase AA or something like that, it'll actually assist them with finding other things that aren't, so it's not case sensitive. That's just going to help us out a lot. So then let's go on and, so we've changed up our ticker 1 and our ticker 2. So now we need to also go about changing and dealing with everywhere where we would have some sort of issue with the tickers, okay? Because there are a couple things that we would want to change. So for example, we changed, let me go back to where we can see it, okay? Notice here, we changed this to completions, okay? Now in the select statement, it uses options. So then we need to go through and find options, and we need to change that in each of these instances to completions. Okay, and so then that is going to allow us to actually do everything correctly, and it's not going to have a lot of issues. Now we need to also double check, for example, that our ticker change, so our ticker changes, these are our callback functions, they are now changed. Is there anything else that we need to change in here? And I'm pretty sure we're actually going to be full up on the changes that we need. So it's not very many changes. Let's actually go on and run this and double check. I actually just changed, I should have copied everything over, but I'll undo the copies here in a minute. So let's run this. All right, so we have our current dashboard. Now let's go on and double click this, and let's say that I want, let's do one thing. Let's check if I do AA, oh, look, Apple starts to pop up there. Okay, if I do GO, Google isn't going to pop up because one, it's already selected here. We use that with our NX. What other values did we have originally? Let me double check here. Where does my default? Okay, so let's try Microsoft. So let's do MS. All right, and so Microsoft happened. I will hit enter. And notice everything changed here. Okay, let me go here and do NF for Netflix, and that changed as well. Okay, so again, everything is changing the way that it should be. So again, now we have this nice kind of autocomplete for us. And again, that's going to be very useful when we add in some other types of functionality. Okay, so for example, well, let's go back over and see what we can do with this. Let me clear out the server. And let's see if we want to go on and instead of having all this, let's actually go on and make the changes that I initially kind of wanted to do as well. So let me go and let me pause everything real quick while I get clear up my cache real quick. Okay, so I'm back. All right, so let's go on and add in some of the special things that we wanted to add in. So we want to add, for example, all of the S&P data. Okay, and so we'll do that up here. SP 500 data. Okay, and so we don't have to do a terrible lot with this. Okay, so one thing that we'll do is SP wiki URL. Okay, and I'm going to actually just pull this again. This is from another video, and I'll put it up top as well, and I'll also put it down below, so that you guys can kind of follow along with how we did this and why we're doing everything just really quickly. So here is using the S&P 500 data. We're going to make a wiki data frame list here, and then I'll do pd dot read HTML with our URL, and then SPDF here is going to be our our data frame list, but we want the first data frame. And then we're going to set our default tickers here to SP. Well, we'll do a list. We want a list of our SPDF symbol here dot values, and that should be everything that we want. So let's go on and actually give this a try. It may slow things down a little bit, and I can work on maybe refactoring this code and optimizing it later on. But right now, I just want everything to kind of work. So let's do that right now. So let's rerun this. All right, so looks like it's still running. So let me pause everything and let me see once it's done running if it'll work for us. Okay, so that definitely caused everything to crash, and it took up way too much time. So we're actually going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to actually delete all of this, and I just went and downloaded the S&P 500 stock data using the default method that I had used previously, and I saved it in a CSV file. I'm going to and we're going to go on and change things up just a little bit, okay? So instead of this line here, we're going to change this to something like df is equal to pd.read CSV data SP500 data.csv. Let me check and see what I actually called that. Let me open this up and do SP500 underscore data CSV. S&P 500 underscore CSV. Okay. Now another thing is, so that things don't get overloaded a whole lot, we're going to actually simplify all of this. Actually, I'm gonna turn that off. We're gonna set call this source data, and we'll do pd.read CSV with our data SP500 underscore data.csv, and then we will be able to quiet out that, and then we'll be able to load some data D here, and D here we'll use our standard is going to be our source data. Okay, so that should be fine. Now they're able to clean up and use the tickers that we had loaded. So we need to see, where did we use get data at before? So get data is here. So then we'll change this to source data here, and all that will do is, this is a little bit of filler code in here. We'll be able to grab the data set, we'll filter the data set, we will get rid of and change things that we wanted to with it, and we'll drop missing data. So let's okay, and then default tickers, we use default tickers as well. So default these default tickers here, it's going to be here, and we'll set that no, I don't want that right now. We'll set that to list source data dot columns. And now let's go on and go back and see where else. Okay, so we have our default tickers, we're good. Let's see how this runs. And hopefully it'll be a little bit faster than before. All right, so that sort of worked. Let me go in and change this and double check it. So let's do, okay, so now you can see that there are multiple. So we can do AAP here, but for some reason there is a break now. And let's do CCL or CCI. Okay, there's that. Everything here seems to be working, but we seem to have a break now between our data and our actual time series plots here. And so let's go back and see what's happening there. So I get an error to this is a missing argument, positional argument for 2. Okay. Anything else? Never awaited. All right. We changed our ticker values, right? Completions, ticker values, completions. 75, there's an issue. 75 is get data. Oh, okay. So source data for our update. All right, so now let's go back and try that one more time. Let's see. Still not quite there. Oh, but that worked. So then now it's actually just not plotting. All right, so then let's go back and see. Okay, so then it must be our date. Okay, so now we can do a little bit of, let's do a little bit of cleaning here. So there seems to be, okay, so the issue that is coming up, okay, is that whenever we're plotting the data, I'm using this date format here. And so since it's not coming back in and we're actually reading it up as a CSV, we may be having a little bit of issue with this date time formatting that we're doing. So let's go and double check our source data. So print source data.head, and then we'll do print source data.info, and I can just run this in the console. Okay, so our index range here. All right, so another thing that we need to do is set our columns. All right, so a couple things that are going on here. One, notice our date column starts in the 60s. We actually don't want that. We want to have it at some kind of predetermined start date and end date. Another thing that we're going to want to do is get rid of all of these NA values, which is technically taken care of later on. If you can see here, we'll drop the NAs. So let's go on and add into this a parse date. Parse dates, and that should be, what is it, date in there. And let's rerun that really quickly. Whoops. May not be running that correctly. All right, and all right, let's give it a try really quick. I don't think that finished what I wanted it to, but we'll see. We may need to set the date as the index as well, but we'll double check, and it's kind of fun to show a little bit of the editing process in here. Let's change that to what? AP and AAPL, and we'll change this to MSI. All right, and you're still not plotting. So then let's go back and see what some of our errors are. Again, it is dealing with the date object in here. So my guess is that we need to go about dealing with the data because it's in the wrong format for that. So let's go on and also do something like source data dot set index to date in place true, and then I'll go through this one more time here, and if that doesn't work, then I'll get offline for a second and I'll double check what's wrong. All right, so now let's go on and run this again. And all right, there it is. Okay, so it was just the index. Okay, so these are now working. Now let's go on, and we have all the S&P 500 data. So let's do something like BSX. Okay, sure. All right, now that runs, and notice that shows their analysis with each other. Now let's also do something like, is there an X? Okay, I don't know what that is. But notice here now we can actually compare multiple stocks and everything else with this kind of autofill for us. As long as they use 2 letters, it will try and give them something. So again, so maybe they say, oh, I know that it starts with a YH, nothing, YA, YO, YZ, YQ. Okay, I don't know. Let me say D. S, DL. All right, so DL has something. Okay, so then we'll put that in. So again, now you can actually go through and do this yourself. Another thing that later on that I'd like to do is maybe change up this here to maybe a hex plot later on in the future, and maybe add in histograms on either side to determine what's going on with their variation and whatnot. I hope you guys liked this and it was helpful to you guys. If you did, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.